hit record, but I just want to go and check a few things. Shadows, new Assassin's
Mm,
Creed game, very exciting.
that thing.
That
You
game.
guys still playing that?
I am just nearly completed. Actually, let me tell you, because it's on in the background. I have nearly finished. Which mission? The Fox Shimbakfu.
Okay, understood.
I want to do that tonight. I'm left with Mutsuhide and the Horseman, which are the last two.
Oh, right. So when you, yeah, that will move you into the basically the final act of the main story. Then, so you're close.
It's it's addictive. I can't stop playing.
It is.
The story is just perfect.
I like the story, and it's good to hear that you like it because I'm seeing a lot of people online complain about it.
What sort of complaints?
Mostly about the pacing, which I can kind of understand because it's just obviously it's open and you can kind of do it any way you want. But I've seen other people talk about how they just thought the story was bland and boring, but I don't see how that is
Really?
possible, man. But yeah, it's the same people that think that Origins is a great story, and I mean, I love Origins, but I don't think the story's that great.
Man, Origins has. I mean, look, we know that stuff, development was troubled by different directions, and we heard from Alex Wilton Regan that her part was being written down and down and down as the production went on, and who knows what the original vision was. But personally, I thought Origin Story had good moments, but overall was all over the place.
Yeah.
For an Origin story, I mean, I don't know.
So yeah, I don't know. I think the story in Shadows was pretty good, man. I really enjoyed it.
I'm confused by people saying they don't know the order because I've been following the Shimbakfu in level order. So every time I
Yeah,
level up, and it
that's the
seems
way I done it.
to be in a very clockwise linear motion. So my last target is the fox before Mutsuhide, and it felt very connected moving on from the ox to the fox. It felt like I wasn't going over the spot. It felt like every little piece was just coming into place as it was going in a circle.
Yeah.
So I can't see it, and it's probably got the strongest Assassin's Creed story since Syndicate, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because it has a lot of the philosophies of the franchise in it. Yeah, we don't have like the big assassins versus Templar fights that we see every day that I know of just yet, because there's some lore I've worked out in my mind.
Hmm.
But for Assassin's Creed, it's the philosophy, the freedom versus order, the oppression, fighting against the oppression. Everything's there.
well,
That's what I think, mate.
And especially when you do all four of Naomi's memories, and I can never get his name right, but one of the Ronin that come into her last memory is an assassin from memories in law, and he worked with the Egans and trained Naomi's dad to be a part
Do
of the
you
Assassin
mean
Brotherhood.
Momochi Sandeu?
Yeah, he trained Naomi's dad to be part of the Iki League, which is the Japanese Brotherhood. So Naomi's always been part of the Assassin's Brotherhood since her birth because her dad's always been a member and was trained by an assassin. How is that not assassin law?
gonna need to get you to write some shit, man, and fucking post it out, man, because some people don't have a clue, man. Oh,
It's the most. Okay, right, geez, how to explain it? Some people take a real, like, checkbox approach to Assassin's Creed game. My Assassin's Creed game needs to have assassins who are actual capital A assassins with the robes. There must have Templars. I must have pieces of Eden. There must be this. There must be that. And that's what they look for, and that's what they want. And
no.
I don't disagree with that, but I also think that kind of limits you to certain types of stories. And we haven't had one of those. I mean, you're right, Declan. Syndicate was the last time we had like a checklist Assassin's Creed game of all of the usual things, and
Yeah.
we haven't. This is the most Assassin's Creed we've had in an Assassin's Creed game in 10 years.
I don't know. I'm still not happy.
Well, that exactly, mate. Do you know what? Exactly. Ezio, I'm sorry, he's had his time. That those games were great. That was 15, 12 years ago.
But the other complaint I've been seeing a lot, and it just blows my mind, man, is people have been saying that they don't like the combat and they don't like the RPG combat style and they want it to be like the old style, man. And I'm like, what is going on? I specifically remember for years people complaining about that combat being far too easy. And it was just a case of a couple of button presses and you would take out like 30 guards. And people were craving something new. And then they get it and they're not happy. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what then. After this podcast, I'll go on Google Docs. I'll create a written piece, very nicely done, called Unpicking Assassin's Creed in Shadows. Send it to Chris, and he can put it on Scholars of the Creed and send it to everybody.
Sounds good, man.
Because
Do it, mate. Yeah.
I can
yeah.
unpick every Assassin's Creed moment in this game that highlights the importance of the franchise, especially if you do the Ops mission. And Yasuke asks, "Am I doing the right thing?" And Naoe says, "You don't fight for justice, you embody justice." And that is what the difference is. And that's very important because the Templars are fighting for their version of justice, but the assassins are embodying it in themselves. They are the figures of justice for the people. And that's very powerful for such a small line. And if that's not Assassin's Creed, then I'm sorry, you shouldn't be playing Shadows and go back to playing the originals and let people who want an evolution of the story have that evolution. If you want to be stuck in your ways, go play the old games. No one's stopping you.
Can I add one point to this discussion? Because now Chris has got me riled up. Right, it's your fault, Chris. People will often praise, and I get it, totally agree. Darby's writing. He writes games with they punch you in the guts with their characters and their stories. Revelations, Black Flag, whatever. But also, and people like there was a thread on the subreddit today, or Darby's leading Hex is going to be great. Just want to say, Darby often doesn't write. Actually, he's only written one traditional Assassins versus Templars game, straight up checkbox, and that was Revelations, where you are an assassin and the bad guys are Templars and blah blah blah. Black Flag approached that discussion from the freedom of the Pirate Republic angle. Valhalla approached it from a very different point of view with a totally different structure, but it took a very different view of what is the afterlife and what does it mean to live free and all the rest of it. So I know people praise his writing and I agree with it, but if you want a sort of a straight down the line Assassin's Creed story, he doesn't write those.
Yeah.
And I always find that really weird how the fandom they don't seem to see, to me, what's really obvious. I will say one thing. I'm amazed, Declan, you're still on the main story. I respect that because as you guys know, I sprinted through the main story and I'm still right. I'm going to stop here. Don't know if your microphone's going to pick this up, but there's some dick on a 50cc scooter and he's taken the exhaust off, so it's loud as fuck.
Very, very
You can hear it.
A wee
And
tiny
he's riding up and down my road. Bastard. I'm not going to crop it out because there we are. What was I saying? What was I saying? I sprinted through the main story, and for me, it was there's probably I could have, now I know I would probably approach certain chapters and certain, let's say, call them side missions in a different order to get more of like narrative flow. But it was classic Creed. Someone finding out their history, Yasuke finding out what the hell happened to him, and everything's actually really well explained. Why did he side with Naoe? What led him into the arms of Oda Nobunaga, and what was he looking for in life? And it was great. It was great. It gave me everything I wanted. I will say that I think I said this when we did our first impressions episode a couple of weeks ago. By the way, hello everyone. This is episode 184, which we haven't got a title for, but anyway, some of the writing is like weirdly direct. and on the nose, which I don't get. And then some of it's really good. There's some great lines. There's one line. You guys have finished the Omi arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done the game.
Okay, so there's one line, and I don't know if this appears in canon mode, but in non-canon mode, when you confront the mourner, Lady Oichi, you have an option to spare as Yasuke or attack as Naue. Do you get that in canon mode?
I think so, yeah. I'm not at that part in canon. Oh, sorry. Did you get that part in canon mode?
Yeah.
No, I can't actually remember now.
You automatically spare. Yasuke stands up and
Yeah.
says, "This is my responsibility," something
Okay.
along that lines, and he takes responsibility for Lady Oichi's actions because of how close she was to Obunaga. Naue looks a little bit pissed off because Naue's like, "Well, I'm here for vengeance," but at the end, she kind of realized that Yasuke was right, that not everyone who's aligned themselves with the Shinbaku are doing it for heartless reasons. There is some that have lost their way and they just need a guiding hand. And that was very powerful to see.
There's something even more powerful in non-canon mode, and I kind of don't want to tell you, but you know what? I think I have to now to finish my point. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So if you do non-canon mode, you get an option: spare as Yasuke or attack as Naue. I chose it. I spent quite a few minutes thinking about it because I was like, I don't know. And I decided I would go with Naue's kind of rage that she's been expressing and her grief. So I attacked. Now, when you attack, she pulls out her katana. She leaps towards Lady Oichi. Now, in history, because she's a historical figure, of course, she doesn't die. And she doesn't die in the game. Kuma, her big chap bodyguard, leaps in front, and Naue stabs Kuma. But then she says a great line. Of course, she's distraught at what she's done because he's a good guy. But then she says this amazing line. She says, "It's always this way. The poor suffer for the mistakes of the rich." And that's, do you know what? Two things. Great line anyway. Great for this whole, what do assassins fight for? But also great vocal performance. So when people say the English voice actress Masami Sonoda isn't very good, I look at lines like that and go, nah, she's doing a great job. There are some lines that do sound a little robotic, and I wonder if they were auto-generated. I'm going to be honest with you, but it's a great scene, and there's lots of good stuff in here that's Creed stuff.
Honestly, I think for the voice acting for Naue, for me, it's always going to be that one moment when she confronts Obunaga and just says, "I am eager." It's and everyone's gonna laugh and be like, "Oh," but it's just a simple line, and it's how it's played out. She plays her dad's instrument, confuses him, and then when he's like, "Well, what's your name?" She's like, "I am eager," and it's kind of powerful because she's embodying her entire culture and country to fight back, and it just felt so good. I want to repeat that mission just for that line.
So do I. I can't wait. Oh, so I have got a new game that I've started, but I've only done the prologue, and I'm back to my previous game. I'm 105 hours now, I think, and fucking hell, so much still to explore. But I can't wait to play it again and re-experience all those moments. What I'm wondering is, how soon will New Game Plus come out? Because if it's soon, I'll wait and I'll do a New Game Plus canon mode, from my current save file. But if it's 6 months, I'll probably just do a new game anyway and just play it.
I'm not entirely sure, but there was a article that came out the past couple of days that was talking about how the devs were saying that the game's going to get harder soon, like if you choose to be. So I don't know if they're going to bring in the permadeath mode from Mirage, or if they're just bringing in like a nightmare mode or something like that. But New Game Plus might come with that, but I'm not entirely sure. I didn't actually read the article, I just seen the headline.
Yeah, okay. I have found the game is quite easy, even on expert. Melee, especially, is not difficult
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I think the combat's pretty easy, whereas the stealth can be quite unforgiving.
Yeah.
Am I playing a different game to use too? Because I'm having difficult with the combat.
Uh, um, we do know that you were quite underleveled at one point. Is that still happening?
Was
Okay,
that when you were in the fight with all the shinobi, mate?
yeah. Okay, so for context, sure, and
Did you
listeners,
hear how his voice changed? He's like, all right, guys, I'm ready to defend myself here, you bastards. Go on, Declan.
um, I actually have shadows in the background on my TV because I was playing it before we recorded. I will tell you what my stats are, and you can just laugh away. I am level 28. I have with now a level 26 sword, level 27 Tanto, level 24 hood, level 25 robes, and level 20 trinket.
I mean,
Yasuke,
what
level
level?
20.
What? Sorry, what level of area are you kind of in at the moment?
Mm, mm.
Um, I'm in Wasuke, which is 29.
You're in what region, sorry?
Wasaka.
Oh, right, up north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Shimbaku's recommended level is 33.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that is why you're struggling.
Like, I may be struggling, but I've actually kind of enjoyed it for some weird reason. Like, yeah,
Are
the
you trying to turn it into Dark Souls or something like that?
no, like I think the problem with the Shinobi boss fight isn't to do with the combat or the level. It's the camera angle, the room, and the amount of enemies they spawn at you once. Because I've had no issues with the orcs, the wise monk, and I've had no issues doing them boss battles being under levels because parrying, dodge, very simple. But when it's like 10 enemies at once every 10 seconds, it's like, and you're in such a small room so you can't evade, it's like, yeah, this is going to drive me up the wall. And I did it after 46 attempts, but I did it.
I have to say, so I died about 3 times before I figured it out. I really enjoyed that fight because it was quite different, and you were that claustrophobia of being locked in that room. I actually really enjoyed it, and it felt really satisfying to get it right. But you weren't you like 10 levels lower on your gear or something crazy?
I think, yeah, I was 10 levels on Naue and 15 levels under with Yasuke.
Hell's bells, mate.
And all my auto saves and manual save was at the start of that boss mission. So I couldn't actually go back and then run to my hideout to upgrade because I could upgrade. So I just had to persevere. And because the game's built where if you're in a battle, you can't change the difficulty, I couldn't even cheat it and go down to easy mode and just breeze through it. So I just had to blood, sweat, and tears through it. And I'm not even going to complain that it was rubbish because it was so satisfying just to kill him at the end because it was a good wrap up for the story, good moment visually, but also such a huge success that I've just wasted 5 hours on this one dude. And then I went to my hideout and just upgraded everything.
Yeah, you have got to keep up with the levels. If you fall, I noticed I was struggling in a melee today, and I realised I was 3 levels behind in my gear. And if as long as you keep the gear up, and I don't necessarily mean upgrade because you'll end up using up all your resources, but just keep swapping it out for higher level gear, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think.
But I'm finding the melee really enjoyable, really fun to get the timing right, the flurry attacks, the vulnerability state, the cool move that Naue does, where if you press dodge at the right time, she'll flip over the back of the enemy, and or the Tanto thing where she dashes in and stabs them. I'm loving it, mate. Absolutely loving it.
With her Tanto, there is an ability for 7 hits, she will automatically dodge. I have that on, and a move where you can trip them up and ground attack. And honestly, being able to kick them in the face and then ground attack, 90% of the time it instantly kills level 30 enemies, even though
Yeah.
I'm like 3 levels under, but I've had no issues now with these abilities in Wakasa or with this Shimbaku because I just keep kicking them to the floor. And then if it's a heavy enemy, it's just like a shoulder tackle and just pulls them over a shoulder instead. And it's so satisfying.
Mm. You want to say something, Chris? We spoke over you. Sorry, mate.
Oh no, that's all right. I was just going to say that I think being a couple of levels under what the enemy is kind of par for the course for the last few AC games, even as far back as Origins. Because I remember in that, like, if you were or even just 2 levels under some bad guys, then you could struggle with it. And I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it actually does turn into a Dark Souls fight because it's like you're doing minimal damage to them, and then they can hit you once and just like floor you and basically take you out in 1 or 2 hits. So yeah, it can be quite dodgy.
Mm.
Or you could just stealth it.
Yeah, or you could do that.
Guaranteed
Can I be honest?
assassination.
I'm enjoying the melee so much that I don't mind when I get detected. I usually start. I mean, I know we always joke. Yeah, a lot of Assassin's Creed fans joke. Yeah, I stealth it until I fuck up, and then do you know what? We're all dying in a sword fight in the courtyard. But I'm really enjoying the melee to the point where now I don't mind if I get detected because it's just enjoyable
Yeah.
to dance around and parry and all the rest of it and experiment with the different passives and actives and everything. It's I do miss if I was to compare it to Odyssey. It doesn't have anywhere near the same sort of flashy abilities, which makes sense. It's supposed to be more grounded. I do miss a little bit of it, but it's the most enjoyable system I've had in one of these games. I think probably forever. It's got all the polish of Odyssey stuff, but with more skill, more timing. You know, you got to be a lot more aware of your. It's the guys with the spears. You can be so focused. You're doing so well against the swordsman, and then some dude with a spear off screen will just jab you, and there goes half your health. And you've just got to be constantly aware. I think it's great.
I do feel, and I know some certain fans are going to be annoyed by this statement, but I do feel Quebec built this game with like, you know what? Let's show those Odyssey haters a lesson. Let's show them how we can really make an Assassin's Creed game, and we'll show them that how skillful we really are, and that's what they've done. So everyone who's like, Quebec only makes flashy, number-based loot drops are Assassin's Creeds, will play this and they'll be like, this doesn't feel like a Quebec game. It feels like a Montreal game because it's grounded, there's no mythology, and it's smooth, it's AC. And it's like, well, this is what Quebec can do. Quebec are phenomenal at world building and storytelling with Assassin's Creed. They just took a different approach for Odyssey because that's what they wanted to do.
Very focused, I guess. Focused on the experience they want.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's beautiful.
It is. I've got a question for you both because you guys are pro level Assassin's Creed gamers. Have you adapted the control scheme at all? And if you have, what have you moved around?
I have not. I thought about it in the very beginning because see, I usually don't mess with the buttons for any Assassin's Creed game. Mirage was the first time I done it, and every time I play that, I have like the sprint on the right trigger, things like that.
Yeah, me too.
But for this, I thought about it, and then I looked at the layout, and I thought, you know what, I'm not even going to mess with that because I don't even know what I would do with it. But I'm still constantly struggling with X and B, which would be, I guess, square and circle on the PlayStation.
Okay, what do you mean? Struggling
Just
how?
because it's really weird for me that it's crouch on square and then dodge on B. So if any, I might actually switch the two around. I think that would make more sense in my mind.
Yeah. What
But
about you,
apart from
Declan?
that,
Any? Sorry, mate.
no, I'm just saying. Apart from that, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah. What about you, Declan? Did you tweak any controls?
Yeah, I've gone for the traditional puppeteer style system.
Okay. So
So
proper like legs, head, all
sort
the
of
rest of it.
as best I could. So in the older games, you had a sprint button, but if you went to high profile, you could then sprint and parkour up. So I've got my sprint mapped to my parkour up. So it's like that high. So as you run to a wall, you don't have to then press the button to parkour up.
Ah, so you're using R2, are you, for sprint and for parkour up? Or
I'm using A at the moment.
gotcha.
So A, which is what I believe the old parkour high profile button was. So it creates a very more fluid parkour system because without it, you'll like run to an edge of a building and now I will stumble until you press A to continue the parkour. But having it on the hold, now I will run to an edge of a roof and just leap off. And if there's another parkour route, she'll automatically just parkour across.
Well,
And
that's interesting.
as I've kept dodge to B and um, X to go prone, I have remapped my controller itself. So the back buttons have now been remapped properly to be LB and RB. So my light and heavy attacks are more fluid instead of just being on top. So I can chain the combat a little bit easier.
Right.
So I've been mainly just tweaking my controller with the face plates just to make it a bit smoother. And it does limit Yasuke's abilities to ram through doors, but I really don't, no offense, I really don't care about the system of ramming through a door.
You're
Like,
going to need it at certain story points, though.
not really, I've got past them all
Oh, fair enough.
with skills. If if
You
there's a
can send
door,
Naue in to lift the bar off the door in advance and then switch back to Yasuke.
well, that's what normal people would do. Talking to me. So in a story mission, I had to ram through a door. Instead, I spent 5 minutes looking for the shortest wall possible so Yasuke can run up the wall. And then I jumped over the wall and I got past it. And I just opened the door. Well, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, yeah. How are you finding parkour then, Declan?
We shouldn't talk about it. I'm going to get in trouble. Let's just skip it.
Okay, I'll tell you what I think, and then you guys can disagree with me. On keyboard, I found it very, very difficult to use. Switching to controller was good. Parkour down the flips is great. Leaping over low barriers, vaulting over low obstacles feels good. The grappling hook is fine. But what I've noticed is a lot of the castles, you've got these sections of walls where the height changes, where you go up onto a gate and then back down to a wall, and there's just no way to smoothly, that I've seen, to sort of keep that movement flowing. Do you remember in Valhalla how Eivor would always have a slight hitch before she would jump or climb, whatever? Like the animation would pause for a frame, and you just never got that sense of flow. I think it's the same here, and it's a bit of a shame. But it's certainly, the movement is much easier with a controller. That's what I found. I'm sure others on keyboard and mouse have figured it out, but yeah, there's not really much to say other than it's good at moving in horizontally fast, over surfaces, dropping down a level, but there's not much there. But what do you guys think, Chris? What do you reckon?
Well, I've never really been that much of a parkour guy to begin with. Like, I like it, obviously, in all the games, or especially the older ones, but to me, it is more about being able to climb things and being able to get up on roofs and kind of make your way to targets without being seen and stuff. Like I said, I'm a stealth guy, so the
Got it.
parkour bit doesn't really apply to me, but I do like the parkour in this game because it makes all that stuff more flashy. Like with the parkour down, flipping over things and that. Like I love all that type of stuff.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I really feel like a proper ninja when I play the game. And I've never really had that from any other game apart from like when I was a kid playing like Tenshu or something like that. Like those games back when I was a kid made me feel like a ninja, but nothing's ever came close. Ghost of Tsushima didn't do it for me. Sekiro, my favourite game in the world, that doesn't even do it for me. So yeah, the parkour, even though I know a lot of people aren't too happy with it in this game, I actually really do like it just because it makes the stealth stuff even more fun, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Declan, tell us your hot take on parkour.
Oh God, I really hate hot takes. So I'm going to get in trouble
I
again.
mean, maybe it's not. The thing is, most of the time when people say I have a hot take, it isn't. It's like the most generic beige color
Yeah.
take of all time. So maybe your hot take isn't a hot take.
It's the best Assassin's Creed in the franchise.
Fair enough.
because I don't know. I do respect parkour players and their movement skills, especially with Unity. But in my opinion, parkour isn't about flashy movements or doing flips and backward ejects. Parkour is about the A to B, being the assassin up high, the agency to use parkour to get out of combat or find a good vantage point to target your enemies and then stealthily take them down. Parkour to me is more than just movement. And on the movement side, it's not as good as Unity or Syndicate or all the others, but it's the only game in the franchise where I will say that it's needed because there's a reason you need to go up high to infiltrate camps. If you get into a tough spot of nowhere, you need the parkour to get out of there. Mirage had a similar system, so I think Mirage in Shadows is a little bit similar. But I just think that everybody who critiques parkour because it's not flashy and it's not backward ejects or somersaults are overlooking the necessity for it. What are you actually using parkour for? If you're using it just because you want to do tips and tricks, then maybe it's not good. But if you're using it for the sole purpose of being an assassin who uses it to get out of combat, to get up high for stealth, to find the right assassination targets, then honestly, it's the best in the franchise because the world allows for that.
That is something I've wondered. Is there? Okay, this is gonna be misinterpreted, so I'll take a moment to explain it. I totally understand those that say that why does it keep regressing, or why not invest time in it? But if you've got the cities of Japan as they are and the castles of Japan as they are, you aren't going to be side ejecting off of the Tenshu to another tower next door because they weren't laid out like that. The streets were wide, the buildings were one story apart from the castle itself. Let's say you did have all of those movements available, where would you use them? And now some people would say, well, change the landscape, the world, the buildings, the environment to match the movement. Okay, but then people would complain that it's not historically accurate.
Yeah.
So some people there. This gets wrapped into the sort of Quebec don't want to make Assassin's Creed games, or sort of deliberately choosing to make movement bad. I think it's what you said, Chris. They've added the movement they need to that fits the world design, and they've added the movement that makes Naue feel like a shinobi. It makes me as a player feel like a shinobi. You're like you said, Declan. You get into the target, you kill the target, then you sprint the fuck out there, and it's been designed for that. The one thing I do think is strange, and would love to hear what you two guys think about this. We've had tree parkour since 3, or was it in earlier games?
No, I think 3 was the first one.
Right, and we all know because we've played all these games, and there weren't many, but even in the much newer games like Origins and Odyssey, your eye would spot a tree that's parkourable. Because you'd know that distinctive shape, and you'd know I can climb up on that branch and then leap off. And you just learn, don't you, as an Assassin's Creed player, to read the world. Right, that surface is parkourable, that tree is parkourable. It's really weird in this game that now there's one type of tree that's climbable, and it's got big yellow painted bits of timber on it. And then the routes into the castles have got the white paint or the white chalk, sort of. I don't know. I assume they've done that to make it more friendlier to non Assassin's Creed players, but it is a bit weird to see it. Because that was the thing. We've always had to know how to read the environment ourselves and figure it out. But to have this big yellow line that says "climb here" just feels a bit strange. What do you think?
I actually brought this up in my review. I don't get it. I mean, I understand, and I said this, that I get it's an accessibility thing.
Yeah, good point.
That's what that yellow paint is for. I've seen people tear other games apart for doing it. What I brought up that I didn't understand was that in Star Wars Outlaws it had it, but you could turn it off.
Yes, you could. You're right.
Yeah. And that the fact that you can't turn it off, and that's really got to me because, like I said, it's great that it's there and it's an accessibility thing. People can use it if they need it, but for people like me who really doesn't need it, it kind of annoyed me that I couldn't turn it off.
Mm.
And again, it's like there's only one type of tree anyway. I think you could just have those. See, because it's like got bits of wood like nailed to the tree, like
It has.
footholds. Like,
Yeah.
see if you just had them anyway, you would know
Mm.
that you can climb that. And even if
Mm.
you couldn't, then you would try, fail, and then never try again. So anyway, so I don't get it.
Yeah. It's a bit odd, isn't it? But it's it's fun. But it is a shame that all these forests and we can't parkour through the trees.
I think they're just
Mind
because they're
you,
so
where would you,
dense.
yeah, yeah, true. Where would you be going from and to? I don't know.
To be honest, I've just been rationalizing it that the amount of shinobi enemies I've come across and the fact that the whole Eager clan was built on shinobis, I've just come up with the idea that all these yellow paint is just shinobis have just gone around finding roots and they're like marking it for other shinobis. Like, hey,
Oh, I
look,
like that. I like
we've
that.
we've been to this castle before. If you go up here, it's easier. And it's not, but that's just gonna be my head canon that one clan of shinobis have gone round and thought, we failed to get up here, so let's just paint a little bit of yellow lines so the next shinobi can figure it out. And I just like to make little rationalizations just for the fun of it. So
Yeah,
I've
I
just
like that explanation. That's good.
we just got one clan running around Japan right now making these paths for other shinobis.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it actually kind of makes sense because there's the actual what they call parkour challenges, I guess, in this game, and there's like 5 or 6 of them, and they're called paths to whatever. There's like
True.
I can't actually
Yeah.
remember the names of them, but it's path to whatever, and they've all got the yellow paint on them, guiding you through the puzzle, I guess. But so yeah, it would make sense that the assassins have already been there to mark the way.
It's not assassins, it's just one random clan who got bored.
We're the painters.
Yeah,
We'll leave
I
this
swear the
here for,
painters.
for some unknown future assassin. Yeah. Have you? Because we're all well, Declan, you're a bit behind. No, I can't ask that question yet because that's a spoiler. No, I'll ask it this way, Declan. On your objective board, do you have any personal quests for Yasuke and Naue?
Yes. So I've
And
been
have you done any of them?
I've been confused. Wait, no. Naoe's journey's blank, but
Okay.
when I last did Naoe's last memory mission, I was supposed to be hunting his master's disciples, but no missions come up unless I can't find it. Naoe has one mission, which is Egan Defenders. So I've got to go and meet Toga Kawara in Eager, but I've just ignored that because
Okay.
I thought that was like a side quest that wasn't essential for her story, so I've just left it.
Right. So you should do it at some point, and this is where like the open nature of the world and the open nature of the objective board kind of they make it harder for you to get that good narrative flow and get the real emotional impact because Naue has a quest line, Yasuke has a quest line. There's probably a right time to do them, but the game doesn't tell you that. And it's kind of a shame because yeah, you might miss something. Not miss something, you won't miss it, but it'll just feel a bit different. I don't know. You should probably do it when you're at the right level. Let's put it like that.
I was supposed to do it at level 24. So I unlocked, I think technically that quest unlocks automatically after doing all 4 of her memories, the little prayers.
Oh, do you mean the Kujikiri?
Yeah, once you've done all 4 of them, that unlocked, and the level's just been scaling as I've ignored it.
Okay,
So
got it.
I'll get round to it. It's like the league. I haven't touched the league till the end game because none of
Yeah.
none of them interest me. Like the characters, one of the characters I wanted to punch in the face, and if
Who
I
was
have
that out of interest?
Ganajo, At this rate, I swear to
I,
God,
f-
if
I
if
felt
I
the
if
same.
I had to do a mission with him, I'm putting him inside of a blooming lake.
Yeah, if you follow the chat, in our Discord, I had the same comment. He is very very irritating. Now in non-canon mode, he is a romance interest,
Yeah, not a
which
chance.
seems a bit doesn't seem right, but actually I followed it
Who
through, and it's actually it's pretty good.
is this? The guy that keeps turning up and giving you advice
No,
or
the guy
telling you what to
in the
do? Oh
Yamato
no,
region. No, it's not that guy. He is a thief, and I think you first meet him in Kyoto or in the Yamashiro
right,
region,
okay. I forgot
and
so much about the game, honestly,
that's
especially
why I
all the
can't.
names.
Yeah, do you know this is going to be a difficult comment. It was really difficult to keep track of all the names because they're not names you're familiar with, so they all
Yeah.
kind of blend into one. So I did struggle. Oh, so and so's told you to go and see so and so. Sorry, who are you again? I'm going to take notes when I play again. I'm not doing it now because I've done most of the
So,
game, but
do you know the name of the guy I was just talking about? The guy that keeps turning up?
Yes,
I think it means with a K, doesn't it?
it's Kananjo, and he's part of the Wise Monk Shinbaku quest line in what region was it? Because it was the one
Yamato.
of yeah, Yamato.
Yeah.
He's well, I would say, but I don't know if we're doing spoilers.
Well, I think what I'll do is when I put this episode up, I'll say, look, this is spoilers for Act Two,
Yeah,
which is most of the Shimbakufu, but not the last two targets. And we haven't spoiled the personal quest. We haven't spoiled any other stuff. So I think we can talk about Act Two targets. I think it's been long enough now. And we'll do like a final story roundup in a few weeks when we're all finished. Well, actually, at your rate, Declan, maybe 2026.
look, I'll be finished by Friday.
Do you think? Really?
Yeah, I should be. I
Okay.
haven't been to bed yet. I've been playing all night. But yeah,
So yeah, that guy's in Yamato. Yeah.
yeah, and
Right. I can't wait to talk about him.
he's
Okay.
not alive. That's what's confusing me.
What do you mean he's not alive?
He's a ghost.
Is he?
How have you guys not realized he's a ghost?
I mean, there's
Right,
obviously
well,
something up there.
I just wanted. I just like there's one thing that he says, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he just said that. But yeah, I don't know if I should say it.
I think you should.
Should.
Right, he says, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's something along the lines of like, yeah, like your character says something to him, and then he says, yeah, well, at least not in this life. And I was like,
Yes.
is he a sage?
Yes.
And as soon as I could, I got a hold of him. I got the photo mode on, and I went right into his eyes to see if his
Yeah.
eyes were a different color, but they're the same color. So I was like, I don't know what to make of this.
So,
You're right. That does stick out.
so the reason he said that is the teapot he mentioned was a teapot the monk got hold of after a battle where he nearly took the monk's life because that's the person the monk's talking about
Hmm.
that nearly killed him, the troublesome son, and then he
Yeah.
killed the troublesome son. And his final breath, the final line he says after you beat the monk in the battle, you get the same tanto play that you get every time he appears. And the monk says, oh, I can hear so and so, he's calling me again, which is then hinting that the music that we always hear and we know is there is a memory or a ghost because in one of these scenes that I chose Yasuke for, you meet him in a bar and he keeps saying about this big dude who's drunk and Yasuke calls him a bugger and the drunk guy goes, are you talking to me? And then that's when it clicks that nobody else can see, can't tell anywhere. That this guy who's been sat next to him hasn't even registered Yasuke's conversation. So to him, it's just been a bit confusing that, oh, you talking to me, Yasuke, you starting a fight with me. And then there's always that like
Feeling a mirage.
tantal beat that keeps playing when it appears. And that actually plays over the death scene of the monk. And that's when he says, "Oh, I can hear the troublesome son calling for me again."
Mm,
And that's when he disappears. And
interesting.
now he says, "Oh, he's at peace at last."
That's so weird. I was
Right.
thinking he was a sage or something.
The bit that
I
throws me off from that theory is I found him again in another castle after completing that quest line.
did you?
Yeah. Another castle in Yamato province when I was doing cleaning up side activities and unlocking locations and stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't make your theory correct, but it was surprising to see him there.
I might have to look because bear in mind I did do it at 4 o'clock in this morning, so my
Okay.
memory's half between I
I
need
look forward
caffeine.
to your deep lore analysis of this character. If it's a ghost, how does that work? If we're being like strict animus guys, how does that work?
Easy. It's the psychology of ghosts.
Well, how do you explain the legendary Sumi?
Good point.
So I'm gonna get a bit nerdy here.
Here we go. Yep.
And people are gonna be like, "Well, what are you doing?" So if James and Chris, if I sent you to a wood in a cabin,
Mhm.
and I said to James, "This is just an ordinary cabin, some food, have a good time," James will sleep perfectly and have good night rest. If I told Chris that we've had headless monks sighted here, things move, it's called a primer. So as soon as Chris lays down to sleep, his brain is start thinking about headless monks, what people are seeing, things moving, and simple things like a misplaced plate falling on the floor becomes superstitious, like, oh, it's a ghost.
Right.
So with Yasuke and Naoe in that mission, when they go to that shrine, they're told about the Omnushi legend. He's pissed with the spirits, and the spirits are angry, and Naoe needs to appease the spirits, and she needs to make them happy, and they'll give her advice. So when she does that last shrine, and he appears, she's already been primed that Ominashi would be pleased and give her advice. And then it plays in the whole animus thing that what is a memory really? If a memory for the animus is just genetic makeup, so what you see appears, then it's kind of like strange because the memories for the animus must suggest it's how your brain processes information. So if your brain processes a ghost, then if you relive that memory, you'll see the ghost because it's what your brain's programmed to remember. But if a memory is just based on what you see, what you hear in your five senses, then it does disprove that theory. But we haven't had huge animus law that says a genetic memory is specifically your five senses. We have hints that it's also how your brain processes information. So I think Valhalla is a good example when
You know what? I was sorry. Let me just jump in here, but I do remember Darby saying something very similar to this about Valhalla at the time when that was coming out.
yeah, because Valhalla is a great example because when you get the choice system at the start, because now Eivor got bit by the wolf, and you have that genetic split, it really does hold that if it was just your five senses, there wouldn't have been a genetic split with the memories because there'd be no reason for her five senses to remember something that happened in her past life because it's just what you see in that moment. But because it's what your brain remembers and everything for your subconscious and your mind, that when she was bit and it triggered a memory from Harvey, that's why the animus glitched out because it's retracing a memory from the mind and not just your basic five senses of smell, sight, and touch. If that makes sense.
No, that's actually really fascinating.
Okay. So it's law compliant, is what you're telling us, Declan, that he is a ghost.
Yes, and
Okay.
I think it gets really tricky because a lot of fans want the animus to be grounded in sci-fi, but if you grounded the animus in sci-fi for memories, then you will take away everything that makes a memory powerful.
Yeah.
So myths, legends, stories, superstitions, they may never happen, but they're ingrained in our memories and our minds. And if we just said a memory is your five senses of sight, sound, touch, and taste, then all those legends and superstitions wouldn't be passed along in the Animus. And then you just get this basic grey character who's just one dimension and wouldn't really see the world as they truly saw it. And now it makes a line in the Wasaka region that this beautiful arch did a god make it, and that's just a stone arch over the sea. So we know geographically that would have been the waves. If we took out all of her beliefs and how her mind works, she would have just said something like, "Oh, that's a pretty arch," and then walked on. So if you remove how a memory is remembered by beliefs and the superstitions, the characters are just going to be 2D and flat because you're taking away what truly defines humanity in their mind. And yes, I have thought way too much about this. I have spent way too many hours.
It's good. Once again, I'm looking forward to replaying it all. You know, I definitely lost some of the detail because I was just trying to get through the main story fast, and I'm looking forward to replaying it. I wanted to ask you about what Chris mentioned a moment ago, the legendary Sumi-E. I've only found one so far, but I just want to explain how I found it because it was great. I was in, I won't say where I was, so I was in a town, just walking through the town. I was, what was I doing? I was picking off, remaining objectives, and I heard two NPCs having a conversation. I couldn't believe I saw it. It had three tails. I was like, what's this? So I stopped and I listened. And again, no markers on your map, nothing in your objective log. But they said, oh, that you've got to watch out. Oh, yeah, they said there was blue glowing eyes. Oh, okay. Off I went up. I did a viewpoint. I did a whatever. I think I did a temple or whatever. And then what I've been doing over the last 10 days is just following the paths. And every time the path branches, okay, I'll go left, see what's there. Go right, see what's there. So I took the branch, went to the top of a mountain, and there was these foxes, stone foxes with blue glowing eyes. I was like, wait a minute, I've heard this clue. What the fuck is this? A bit further on, there is the legendary Sumi-E. And do you know what? The way that I sort of discovered the clue and then found the location and then observed it, it was cool. I just thought it was cool. I have no idea how you explain it in the Animus. I don't really care either because it was just really cool. I've no idea where the other ones are either. I've got to find them, so I've still got a lot to do. What were you going to say about them, Chris?
I was just gonna say, I mean, I guess you would just explain it like anything that's been in past AC games, like it's like an animus glitch or something. Do you know what I mean? Because
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know why people get so bent out of shape over stuff like that. Anyway, I mean, I really could not care less, man. Like, if there's a
I know what you
wee
mean.
um legendary animal in it and stuff, I mean, that's cool. That's a cool distraction for 10 minutes or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Um, it's kind of ingrained in Japanese folktale and beliefs. The Sumi and their locations are based off Japanese folktales.
Okay.
So when you find them, it's what the Japanese believe. So it's akin to the mythical creatures you see in Odyssey. So it's stories that have been passed down. So they don't exist, no, but it's how Naue perceives them because of her beliefs and her religion.
No different to Eivor seeing her version of Valhalla when she plugged herself into Yggdrasil, or Basim plugged her into Yggdrasil, and all the rest of it.
And
Then,
no different to how Connor in AC3, when he touched the apple, saw an eagle with Juno,
mm.
because their belief was about the animals and the gods.
fair enough.
So I need to find more of them. I like little details like that.
Yeah, there's 5, I think, to find. I'm not certain.
Yeah, I
I
can't
need to
remember how
check.
many, but some of them are
Yeah.
like certain seasons or time of day and things like that.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so even if you're in the right location,
Yeah,
they won't
if
be
it
there.
might be the wrong season or something.
You
Right.
get
I
to
wonder
keep
if you
them
have
as
to get a
pets.
clue from an NPC or a note
Not
somewhere
sure.
to unlock them.
I've only done 2, so well, and that's
Okay.
on my main game, that my canon one that I'd completed for review. But on my second playthrough for non-canon, I'm still in Act 1. So
Yeah. Understood. Understood. I was going to ask you guys another question. I forgot what it was.
I was going to say,
Mm.
after what you were saying earlier, I'm actually interested now to do a third playthrough, and I was always going to do that anyway and try immersive modes, so have the subtitles on and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking about it, like, and I would never usually play an Assassin's Creed this way, but I might try that playthrough with the guided mode turned on and see exactly how that guides you through the game, through what
Yeah.
mission to what mission, basically.
Oh, that would be interesting. So it's not just about where it puts the markers. Do you think it actually basically tells you do this
I would
next?
think so, but again, I'm not entirely sure.
It'd be good to try it out, wouldn't it? Because there were times when I was lost. What do I do
Yeah.
next? And I kind of, the way this game is designed is quite different, you know, to the previous four, I suppose. It doesn't. I mean, I know you can go onto the object. The point is, you have to put a bit of effort in. You've got to go to the objective board, look at the objectives, see where you are. Okay, this person's only visible in nighttime. Well, that's I'm not in nighttime, and you do have to think a bit more, which is good. But there were a lot of times when I was lost, and the one thing I have thought about, I'd love to hear what you guys' experience is I spend a lot of time in the map and in the objective board figuring that out. Maybe that's natural because there's less clues on the screen, less markers. And I can't work out if that's a good change or a bad change because the game doesn't guide you anywhere. And so it's like a trade-off, isn't it? Odyssey would just put a big glowing diamond, or Valhalla would put a glowing dot. You need to go here. So you sort of turned your brain off. But Shadows has taken that away, and all the clues are on the objective board or on the map, or you send a scout. But is that really making you think more? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the change is good or not, and whether you're just spending more time in a menu as opposed to looking at a dot on the you know
Yeah.
in the HUD. I don't know. There's something that doesn't quite work for me there because yeah, like I said, there was a few times when I was a bit baffled as to what to do next.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you didn't really have a board so much in Odyssey or Valhalla. It's really just Mirage that's really had that kind of version
True.
of the board where it opens things up. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Yeah, sorry, I don't know.
That's all right. I suppose Odyssey had actually Valhalla had the Templar target board, and Odyssey had the Sages. But you had your quest log, and then you had which Valhalla had, and then you had your targets screen. Shadows has merged everything as an objective,
Yeah.
which I'm fine with. But yeah, like I say, I mean the number of targets in this game, it's like I almost feel like the designers sat there and thought like day one, right? These fans like killing people. We are going to give everyone a fuckload of targets to kill.
Assassinations, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone gets an assassination. You get but I think there's something like 100 targets on the board, or whatever that you have to go and find, which I'm fine with because you don't have to do them if you don't want to. Apart from the main group of 12, is it? But it is quite funny. It's almost like the needle went maybe a bit far the other way because do you know what? There's a gap. So my board is symmetrical except for one area, which makes me think there's still another group of targets I haven't found, and I'm
Oh.
105 hours into this game. You know, so it does at times make me chuckle and think like, where are they going with this? This is ridiculous, but it's fine. I like sneaking in and stabbing people.
So see,
See?
yeah, sorry, honey, got that.
Oh no, you carry on.
I was just gonna say, so you're definitely spending more time looking at your menu because of the board thing and because of like you're reading the clues and stuff. But again, what's the alternative?
Yeah,
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, I mean, I would say has quite a nice system where you follow the wind. But again, that gets kind of samey after about 10 minutes anyway, and you're just basically constantly pressing the wind button to like, okay, what direction am I going now? Am I going left? Am I going
that is
right?
true. That
So,
is
I mean,
true.
it's not really that much better. So, I mean, I don't really mind looking at the board that much. It's fine.
I suppose it makes sense because she has a board at the hideout. So you can kind of think of it as she's looking at her board of targets and thinking. Yeah. Declan, you wanted to say something, mate?
I was going to say, on about the symmetry, because I saw you and iCraig talk about in Discord. The free DLC, the Blades of thing, is going to add 10 more targets.
The claws of Owaji.
Close watch, it's meant to add 10 more targets. So that'll probably fit there. But
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm weird. I love the new quest board. It's because I found out quite early on that if a target says the clues are like he's in, I'm going to pick a random name on the map, whereas he's in Osaka Uzumami Setsu, and I've got no scouts. It's just really nice to be like, right, I need to go north. Okay, I'll head to this landmark and then walk north, find a high point and scout. I don't know, for me, it felt like something an assassin would do. Like they wouldn't just wake up one morning, get a contract for Bob the Builder and automatically know where he is. They were like, right, Bob the Builder's known to be on construction site A. Okay, we'll head there and we'll scout the area out. Okay, he's not there, but I've heard from Wendy that he likes to go to the pub down the road, so we'll head down there and oh, there he is having a drink with Scoop Mac and Dizzy. So we'll just get him now. And I do agree.
Yeah, I take your point. I take your point, mate. Yeah.
I do agree. There's a lot. Like every time I go to a new area, it's oh, it's here, or I only discovered it after 36 hours. I killed one dude by accident at the start of the game, and I've only now just unlocked the entire board, and that really irritated me. That I did not know who the hell he was for ages. And I think
I had that for a while. I think I had 3 target circles that were unknown organization. And the only, again, it's quite cool that these people are just out. It's like Odyssey. I can't remember if Valhalla. I think Valhalla did the same thing with the Zealots, but not with the main targets. But with Odyssey, I think all bar a few story link sages were just out in the world. And if you found them, you could just kill them. The only thing about Shadows is there's a story behind each of these quest chains and these targets. And I think if you kill them early, I do wonder if you're missing out on a bit of, backstory. But again, I don't know how you solve that, because it's quite cool that everyone's just out there living their lives, drinking sake, and then you put a blade through their neck or whatever.
it's not. I literally was going to write a complaint to Quebec that I died twice to the monk quest because what the game didn't tell me was hiding in the monk's little place was a member of a organization, and I was like running to the objective to kill the monk, and this big dude came out of nowhere, and I was like, a boss in a boss. So I died from like 3 times, finally killed him, and it was like quest complete, open my objective. It was for a different group of people that hadn't even started yet, and I was like,
Do you know, that rings a bell? I think I had the same thing.
yeah, I don't know who it was, but it really annoyed me. What was it doing there? Could it just leave me be?
All right, gentlemen, it's been an hour and 6 minutes. I tell you what, let's wrap up. So, marks out of 10, stars, whatever you want to say. But what are you thinking? Good, bad, ugly?
What, in general?
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a 9. I love it. I think it's just one of my favourite, if not my favourite AC game. No, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Declan?
Perfection. I'm going to say it's Assassin's Creed 1 for the modern era.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I like
That's
that.
how I see it. It's Assassin's Creed 1 for the modern era.
Yeah,
All right.
man.
And I'll fight anyone who disagrees.
I'll back you up.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think I'll just say I'm with you. I'm with both of you there. I think it's great. There are things that I find a bit, like we just talked about, a bit wonky.
Yeah.
But you can actually, if you don't like the loot and the leveling, you can actually ignore all of it and kind of just mainline the targets like you're playing AC1.
Yep.
If you like the open world, there is a fuckload out there for you to go and explore. So it does feel like they really and I don't know how they did it. Guess lots and lots of testing and balancing and game design and thinking, but they really have built something that could work for, apart from the parkour bit, almost any fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing an hour, 2 hours every day. Work's been busy the last week. I've
Yeah,
not
that's
had much time, but I'm playing every day. I'm still really enjoying exploring it, the open world side of things, and I can't wait to start again, to be honest.
I can't either. Like, I can't wait to finish it and then just get lost in the open world again because I've only just discovered now icicles can actually harm enemies. So I want to test this, and I also want to
Throw
test if I
throw
can.
shuriken at them.
I also want to test if I can freeze Naue in ice. I'm like, I figured out that ponds, because it's still water, freezes, and running water doesn't. So if Naue like stealthily goes under with a pipe, and then I put to winter and everything freezes, will the water freeze or will it not?
Make sure you're recording your screen when you do that because I want to see the
Yeah.
video.
Very weird.
Imagine if it works and just get desynchronization.
Oh, and then but then you'll find you're soft locked because all of your auto saves are done when the season changes and you're fucked.
Okay,
Take a manual save beforehand, mate.
yes, I'll manual save beforehand.
Oh man, that would be funny.
Do you know what? I just want to bring this up because I only just noticed it like a couple hours ago when I was playing it. I'd never seen it before, but I was in a castle area doing like stealthing guys, and a rain thunderstorm came through, and then all the guards on patrol all left their positions and went and stood underneath like sheltered areas.
That's
And they literally, and I watched them stand there the whole time until the rain stops. And then then they continued back to their patrol areas and their guard spots, man. I was like, what is going on? That's amazing.
that is sick. I have noticed also in thunderstorms, and they said this beforehand, so it's not a surprise. But you can be so much stealthier, partly because the guards have moved, but you make less noise in the heavy thunder, and it's great for sneaking into places. I'm really getting on with the weather system now and the opportunities, like the long grass. You can go prone in long grass. So in the summer, that's a whole nother stealth option. Yeah, there's a lot to this. It's really good. Just wish we could replay missions, guys.
I just wish we could change the day and night. Ah,
Yeah,
kills me.
I think it's the most common thing I've seen on the subreddit in the last 2 weeks is let us have manual control over day night cycle. Yeah, I'm with you there. Right, let's wrap it up. Chris, do you want to close us out? So good game, thumbs up.
Yep, absolutely. Thumbs up. Love it.
Nice. Let's leave it there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And
Thank you
we'll
all.
be back soon.
Bye.